Hello BookTube. Today for Tag Tuesday, I'm going to be doing the old school April tag. This tag was created by Crits Reads, based off of a BookTube event created by Slime and Slashers, and I'm drawing on Criminali for the prompts. So the links to all the channels in the show notes down below, as well as a copy of the prompts in case you would like to do this tag yourself. There are 12 questions to the tag, and they are broken up into categories. So the first category is reading rainbow. Question number 1. What book, author, or series got you into reading? I have always been a reader. So there is no one book or author or series that got me into reading. But the first book I remember reading and loving is The True Story of the Three Little Pigs by John Sazorka. It's a retelling of the Three Little Pigs from the perspective of a wolf who just wants a cup of sugar. Question number 2. What author or book got you into your current favorite genre? I'm going to go for 2 answers for this one, because right now I would say my reading tastes are dominated by manga, which are Japanese comic books, and history. Although my reading tastes are perhaps in flux, more so towards history kind of falling out of favor than manga. I've talked a bit in the last few weeks about my reading history and how over time my reading tastes change. And so right now my reading tastes are dominated by manga and history. Although again, perhaps there's a change coming, and I don't quite know where that's going to go, except for I'm pretty sure manga is going to remain and history may or may not be falling out of favor. But anyway, so the manga that got me into manga is Fairy Tail by Hiro Mishima. Fairy Tail was a long-running series, and from the early 2000s to the 2010s, it lasted for 63 volumes, and it's a fantasy series set in a secondary world, and its focus is on the Fairy Tail Guild, which are a guild of wizards who are notorious in the Kingdom of Fiori for being not only the strongest guild, but also the most destructive. That when any Fairy Tail member goes on a job, there is a good chance that there's going to be a significant amount of collateral damage. And no Fairy Tail member is as destructive as the Fire Dragon Slayer Natsu Dragneel, who, alongside his Exceed companion Happy, are spending as much time as they can looking for the dragon Igneel, who is Natsu's foster father. During one of their trips to find Igneel, Natsu and Happy meet Lucy Heartfilia, who is a young runaway who wants to join a wizarding guild. And she has her eye on Fairy Tail. And after meeting Natsu, she joins Fairy Tail, and together the trio form the nucleus of a team within the guild that also comprises Natsu's rival, or includes Natsu's rival Gray, the strongest woman in the guild, Urza, and eventually a young Sky Dragon Slayer named Wendy Marvel, and her Exceed companion, Carla. Fairy Tail is a wonderful series. I read all of it last year, and I'm thinking I'm going to reread the whole series again in December. I think that will be my December project. Now, for history, I'm going to go. I think the book that really sort of cemented my current love of history. I had, for a long time before this, read history largely for research purposes or for creative inspiration. But Big Wonderful Thing by Stephen Harrigan changed that. Big Wonderful Thing is a large, hilarious history of the state of Texas. And it blew me away. And since then, I have accumulated quite the history collection. So I'll go with that. Okay, so next section is mixtape. What was the first concert you ever went to? I have never actually been to a concert. I have been to the opera, though, and to the ballet, but I've never been to a concert. Question number 4. What band or artist do you love but never got to see live? I'm going to go with Savage Garden. Savage Garden was a band from Australia that formed in the 90s and broke up by the early 2000s. It was a duo, and they were incredible. I have listened to and loved both of their albums for decades. And it's a shame that they're gone. And I really wish, even though I probably was too young to, well, I don't know. Because I think I wasn't, because I think they broke up before I was 20. But yeah, so they're the ones that I regret having never seen. Next section is I always feel like somebody's watching me. What was your favorite cartoon while growing up? He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. I was a big, I've always been a big science fiction and fantasy fan. And He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, as well as She-Ra, Princess of Power, were just two amazing cartoon series that I absolutely loved. And regret having not been able to watch more of them. Because I think by the time by a certain point, they both were largely gone. Prompt number 6. Name a TV show or movie that is tied to a good memory. I guess we could go with Reading Rainbow and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I loved both of those series when I was a kid. And particularly Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I did watch a few episodes when they would air in repeats on my local PBS station. And just the memories of watching them just came flooding back. It was fun. Prompt number 7. Name a movie from childhood that you still love today. I'm going to go with I guess it depends. Well, I'll go with Conan the Barbarian, the 1982 version. It was one of the first movies I ever saw. I was almost certainly too young to see it. But it definitely cemented my love of fantasy and sword and sorcery. Even if right now the adult form of that genre is very much on the outs with me. Prompt number 8. Name your first TV or movie crush. Will Wheaton as Wesley Crusher. Next prompt is Gotta Catch 'Em All. What was a toy you were obsessed with or collected as a kid? G.I. Joe. Um, so while I preferred He-Man and She-Ra, those toys were difficult to find. However, G.I. Joe was plentiful, and me and my brother amassed quite the collection of G.I. Joe, even if they did eventually break apart because we played with our toys quite hard. My brother always had the Joes, I always had Cobra. Up to and including the infamous incident in which I melted Cobra Commander for his repeated failures using a lamp. Pacman Fever. Name a board game or video game you associate with your childhood. There can only be Super Mario Brothers, particularly Super Mario World. I love that game. It is the first game for the Super Nintendo system, and I had a blast playing it. It's one of the few games I can actually manage to win. For board game, I don't think there is one. She's got the look. Name a clothing or trend that was popular when you were a kid. I don't recall. I want candy. Name a childhood snack or candy you wish were still made. There were these, I don't know what they're called, but they were, I think they were called chicken sticks or chicken legs. I mean, they weren't actually chicken legs, but they were like nougat or something that was like a long stick that it's sort of like a Butterfinger, but without the candy coating. I don't recall much of it. It's been a very long time since I've seen them, so I could be way off on what they are. So anyway, that was the old school April tag. If you'd like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged, and I will be back tomorrow with another video. Hopefully it will be a discussion video because there is a discussion video I want to make that pulls together a number of bookish topics that I've seen over the last few days and weeks, and I'm having a hard time having to pull it together. So hopefully I'll manage to do that tomorrow, and if not, I'll have another video. There are a number of tags that I would like to do, so I could also be doing some more tags. So anyway, BookTube, until I see you next time, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.